Episode number 117 with Aaron LaPointe. Welcome to the Heads Up Poker Podcast. This is Steve Barton, and thank you for tuning in. We are getting more downloads and more reviews every single week, and that's because of you. You're out there spreading the word, telling a friend, and telling them about the show, so thank you. I am here with Aaron. He is a fan of the show and has been listening for a long time, a fellow TPE edger, and he goes by Lapper30 on TPE. Aaron LaPointe, thank you for coming on.
Hello. Thanks, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So I'm trying to remember where I met you first. I don't remember if it was on TPE or if it was on the podcast, or I know we met out a couple of years ago at the WSOP, but was that the first time, or I don't remember?
Yeah, I don't know if we had any interactions before. Like maybe we'd done some talking through forums. But not knowing each other, we didn't have a hey Steve, how's it going? No, yeah. The first time I did meet you was at PT's pub on one of those famous / infamous nights. Yes. at the World Series. I think that was in 2015 or
15, yeah.
I think it was 15.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
Yeah, you showed us some magic tricks, and
I did. What did you think of the magic?
I thought it was great. It was fantastic. Do you do that a lot still?
You know, let's see. I started it when I was a little kid, and right. And then recently, probably like 5 years ago, I got back into it, and I just took it to a whole new level. Like I just did it in front of thousands of people until I would go to the mall and I'd have my buddy videotape me. And I would just do magic over and over and over, and then watch the videos and see how I could hold the angle different so that the people behind me can't see, and like that. And then, and now I don't do it as much as I used to, but definitely if I'm going to a party or something, I've got a deck of cards in my pocket, and there's these little moments where it comes up perfectly, and it's fun.
Well, yeah, it's especially in a situation like at the World Series like that, it's nice to have something like that just brings people together, and gets everyone excited and in a good mood. And who doesn't love a good magic trick, No,
most people like magic. Yeah. Yeah.
But then you get us poker players who I'm watching you do the trick. And I'm like, okay, trying to logically think how you went about doing it, trying to solve it. I want to know, but I don't want to know. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people are probably like that. But
it's interesting because some people really believe that the card disappeared. And I know when I'm doing a trick in front of 20 poker players, they all logically know that that's not possible. And so they're watching like extra cautiously and more intently. That's what makes it fun.
In terms of if anyone wanted to bet with me whether the card actually disappeared or not, I would take the bet that the card did not magically disappear, nor did it fly through the deck, nor did it, do.
That's a very good bet to make. Yes.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know a lot about magic, but I feel like it's probably a pretty plus EV bet.
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, when did you get involved with poker? When did you first start playing? How'd you get started? Did you just start a few years ago, or is this since you were a little kid, or?
Where to start? I don't. So I started playing. I guess the first memory I really have of poker goes way, way back to I was probably 13, so like 20 something years ago. And okay. I had a buddy who lived really close to me, still my best friend. I was in his wedding party and yada yada. Anyways, he would bring over, we both had penny jars, and just like 700, 800,000 pennies in there, whatever, nickels, dimes, whatever, change jars. And he would come over to my house and we would play heads up. we had no idea what we were doing. I don't remember what game we were even playing, if we were playing 5-card draw, or I think we were playing Texas Hold'em, though, because for some reason that might have been right around when they first started broadcasting or having some World Series of Poker.
Yeah. How old are you? 33?
I'm 30. No, I'm 37.
Okay, me too. We're the same age then.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I knew we were the same age, but
yes.
Yeah, so that's one of my first memories. So that's when I started. After that, I moved to, seriously would probably be, well, not seriously, but trying to learn the game of poker and trying to get better at poker would be around 2001, let's call it. We had a game. I had some buddies. One of my buddies owned a restaurant, and their restaurant closed at 9:00. So we would go by there for 10 o'clock, and we would play till, whatever wee hours of the morning, play Texas Hold'em. We'd have 10 of us. He'd have the open bar. Well, we paid for the beers, but it was, we basically have a restaurant full of beers there. So everyone would have a great time. And I started to that's when I really started thinking about poker, and tried to get better.
When did you join TPE?
That wasn't until 2013, but way before that, I'd actually joined. It was a branch of Card Runners, and I don't remember what it was called. Someone who's listening will probably know.
I used to be on Card Runners.
Yeah, but no, it's not Card Runners. It was like a branch. So it was a branch that was built more for low and micro stakes. So it didn't have, because Card Runners, when they first came out, if I remember correctly, used to be something like either, I don't know what it was, if it was $39. I for some reason think it was like $99 a month, and that was too much. But what they did was they made a site where, so you're not getting the top level pros that they had in Card Runners, but you would get more mid stakes guys who would make videos for the micro guys, and with that, they obviously charged less money for it. So I think I was paying $20 a month for that. Was it? Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. My long-term memory is not great. But that was one of the first sites that I joined. And then 2013, I joined TPE, and, I watched KB's stream and talked to we've obviously met those guys and hung out with them. So I support KB's stream a lot. And
KB's got a good stream.
It's a great stream.
Yeah.
And the people are really good too.
Yeah. Mike's got that was a neat one. You and I were there to watch that one when Mike made his deep run. And I guess he recently got first in another tournament for almost 10K too, huh?
Yeah, I actually came in at the tail end of that one too.
Oh, nice.
I told KB this too. I told him I sort of cheat on him with Mike. When Mike's online, I'll usually go hang out with him. Mm-hmm. Mike doesn't get a ton of viewers, and that's not a shot at him. What I mean by that is it's easy to interact with him. So when I ask a question or we talk or something, he typically responds to it, and whatever. It's Mike. I just want to support him, right?
Yeah.
But I was there for the last one that he shipped there. I came in when they were. I think I watched. Yeah, I watched. There were exactly 9 players left. I watched the full final table.
Oh, cool! That's cool.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, it's he has a really cool Twitch stream. It's fun. I was hanging out with him there the other night, and he was on 2 deep runs, and just couldn't. I think he got like a 9th or something, and then like an 11th or 15th or something. Didn't quite make it, but it was still a cool sweat.
Yeah, that's the way that it goes with poker, right? Yeah. I'm happy for him. Like those couple of runs, those added up to what? What was it? It was the one that he won was.
It was like 9,700 or something. It was just under 10K, and then the one like the week before for second was almost 17K. It was like 16.8 or something, or 16.9. Yeah.
There's 25K, and Mike.
Oh man, nobody needed it more than him.
Yeah,
he needed that score.
So I'm happy. That should I hope that settles him down. And I've talked to him a little bit in between too, and I know that he went to Oceans after that, and he had a winning session there. So no, he's feeling it.
Yeah, he's definitely like I was trying to get him on, and he's I'm just grinding too much right now. The Ignition series. I'm like, okay, he's in gambler mode. I'll talk to you on the weekend. Don't worry.
Yeah, but at least it's positive gambler mode, right?
Yes, exactly. He's not just blowing 5K at the roulette table, you know. Yeah. So definitely.
He's not in the low mic. I hate poker, but I gotta play mode. He's feeling it. He's running hot, and you know, when he finished second in that 16K, he made some hands. Like it worked. Like everything he did worked, and it's, you know, it's good to see that and have it put in perspective too, that you have to get there to win poker tournaments.
Yeah,
you have to win as a 3-to-1 dog and do these things. But
I've never shipped a tournament where I haven't gotten lucky, ever.
No,
I mean, when you review the hands afterwards, it's like, well, I got ace king and he had fours and I won, and then I got ace queen and he had jacks and I won, and like, you know, even if you're on the plus side of variance, each one, those two examples weren't, but you still have to get lucky. I mean, that happens 12 times throughout the whole tournament. You got to win every flip, you know? It's just
I mean, when you're playing a tournament, that's going to be anywhere from, you know, 350 to 500 hands. There's probably a pretty big hand in there where you get in for a significant part of your stack as, you know, probably a pretty significant dog, you know, whether you run ace queen into ace king or ace king into king king, whatever the case may be.
You got to win one of those. Whatever. Yeah, you just got to hit. And when you do, man, when you ship it, there's no feeling like it.
No, exactly.
That's why we play.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, you know what? I want to ask you this too. Who's your favorite pro that does the videos?
I'm a really big Andrew Brokus fan. Yeah, I like someone who can more explain the concepts than me just watch video after video after video of watching, okay, we fold ace 10 from early position. I get it. I really like Brokus's theory videos. They're awesome. He's an amazing instructor, and those are probably my favorite. I've worked with Mark. I love Mark's. Well, I like everything about Mark. I mean, the guy's enthusiastic. He loves the game. He loves talking about it. He's super entertaining, you know. So I enjoy him. Daryl Chase is another great guy. He has a different style.
Yeah.
I have some friends who just aren't as into it, for lack of a better term, but you know, I like him, and I think those are the main guys, my main go-tos, I'd say.
I really like when Brokus puts up a video, I'm like, oh, nice. We got a 6-part series coming up. My next week and a half is going to be awesome. You know? And other ones that I go back and consistently watch over and over are the theory ones that he puts out, like, you know, bluffs. The value betting one, I've probably watched that like 3 or 4 times. You know, getting paid, all those ones that, you know, he's not going through hand histories necessarily to dissect a tournament. What he's doing is he's pulling up hand histories that all have this same similar concept on whatever the topic is, bluffing or, those ones I dig a lot. And they're just really ones that you can watch over and over. And every time, you know, you just get a little bit more. It's kind of like the first time you see 6th Sense and then you find out, spoiler alert, oh, he's been dead the whole time. And then you watch it again and you see other little parts in there. And then you watch it again and you see like, oh, the cupboards were open there. And now that, you know, I mean, it just, I dig it. I love those videos that he puts out.
Yeah. The getting paid video series specifically for, I mean, I don't even know that it matters what level of poker player you are. There's got to be something that almost everyone can get from that. I suppose if you're, you know, I suppose you could pass it, but all I'm getting at is for probably a good portion of the listeners, getting a TPE membership for the $30 a month or whatever they charge for it, That series alone is worth so much. It talks about, it talks about ranging. It talks about bet sizing. It talks about all the cliche poker terms that we throw out there, but really gives you a true understanding of what you should be thinking about when you talk about these things.
Yeah. Yeah. And then other thing, if you have a hand that you're not sure about, you post it in the forum, and then the same pros that you've been watching their videos, they respond to the hand. You know?
Exactly.
It's like what more could you want?
No, exactly.
I wanted to talk about that one too, the ace jack off hand that we talked about in episode 114. Aaron threw it up on the forum, and since then we've gotten, I don't know, almost a dozen responses. And the last one came from Matthew Hunt, the Ginger. He's got the podcast with Derek as well.
He writes probably the best articles I've read for TP as well. A lot of them are floating around on Facebook, or I believe they're free on TPE. So even if you're not a member, you can go in and read his articles. But he writes absolutely great articles for TPE as well.
He does. So what? This hand. Let me see if I can recall the basic details. It was like cutoff raises to 3 big blinds.
No, there was an open before that. It was like a middle position.
Oh, middle position raises to 3 big blinds. Yeah. Then the cutoff calls 3 big blinds, and then the button, who has just short of 10 bigs, he had like 9.8 big blinds, calls 3 big blinds. So right there was kind of a discussion: and I think you're right, is that this is just a fish player that doesn't understand that he has less than 10 big blinds and should only be folding or shoving there. And instead he probably has queen jack, and they're both suited, and so I'm going to call and see if I get a flop, and if I don't, then I'm going to, it's a fun player. I was thinking at the time, and then after the button, I'm in the small blind with ace jack offsuit, and I think I had 21 or 22 bigs, and the decision was, do we fold or do we shove here? I don't think we can ever call or 3-bet small, like we either got to put it in or not. After a whole bunch of replies and everything, we figured out that we're probably making about a big blind per shove there. And, it was a spot that I should have gone with. I ended up folding, so lesson learned. But one thing that came from that hand was that I was wondering if the guy that limped on the button, if that could be a pro that was only doing that with aces. And
or kings maybe.
Yeah, or kings maybe. Is it better to take aces possibly 3 or 5 ways there and get more money in the pot, or is it better to just shove and hope to get heads up with one player?
Yeah, I'm looking at that hand right now, and it's sort of hard to make out the way that I typed it on the forum, but the bottom line is that button started the hand with just under 10 bigs, like 9.7 bigs, 9.8 bigs. And like a good player just is never going to call with ace flat with aces or kings there and go possibly like up to 5 ways with aces or kings, because at that point as well, there was already 8, 10, 20, 30, 40. So he already had the equivalent before he made his decision, before the button did anything. There was already more than he had in his stack in the middle.
In the pot. Okay.
So, a good result for him if he has aces is to just slam it in and, worst case, well, whether you want to call it worst case or best case, if he gets called, it's obviously fine. But if he gets folds, he gets his variance free double up. So I don't think a good player would ever do that with the aces or the kings, because I know you'd mentioned that on there. And
my thought was, let's say he just calls here, leaving himself 6.8 bigs behind. You've got 3 bigs from the opener, 3 from the cutoff, 3 from you. That's now 9 big blinds. Then you got the big blind and the small blind in there. That's 10.5 bigs plus the antes. We'll call it 11.5 bigs in the middle.
Right.
And you have about 7 behind. Now that's if the next 2 guys fold. But I think on average you're going to get at least 1 caller. Most of the time I think the small blind's folding. especially since it's me and I fold ace jack off suit there.
Yeah,
I would say the vast majority of the time I'm folding. And the big blind, I think, is going to call fairly often. One or both, or, both are going to fold. I think you can average one call there. What do you think? Is that too much? Do you think it maybe like 0.75 calls there? Or one big blind? I don't know. What do you think?
No, I guess it just depends on how loose the big blind is, but I mean, they're going to be thinking the same thing that you're thinking is what's going on here. But at the same time, they're going to get an incredibly good price closing the action. So yeah, I mean, the big blind can probably call there a reasonable amount of the time. I don't know what percent I would put on it. Maybe it would be as high as like 70%.
Okay.
I mean, I think, assuming I have a deep enough stack, I'm going to be calling very, very wide there, getting the price that I'm getting.
Yeah. Because the big blind definitely by far has us covered. I can't remember what.
Yeah, because I mean we're at 3.6.
Yeah.
Well, what are?
I think he had like 26 bigs or something, if I remember right. I'm not staring at the hand, but anyway. So I was wondering now, do you ever call there with aces?
Right.
Now you've got. We already said there's 11.5 big blinds after we call, and we have 7 behind in the middle. Let's say the big blind calls along. Now we got 13.5. We got. Our stack is only half the pot, and we're in last position.
Yeah.
So I think when we shove here, which we have to do on any flop, is we probably go. Someone's calling us, possibly 2 people.
Well, you got to almost think that someone's going to bet before it even gets to us. That's another problem, right?
Well, I don't know that that's a problem. I guess my question is it better to win? Is it better to shove there with aces and more than likely get heads up and possibly, 80% of the time double up? Or is it better to take it, 4 ways and realize that you're only going to win the pot 40% of the time instead of 80? But when you do, you get a lot more chips.
Yeah, I haven't done the math, but I'm pretty confident in saying that it's going to be a jam every time. Is going to be the way that you're going to maximize value. Because when I say that it's a problem, all that I mean is that anybody, whether the middle position player or any of the other players who are in the hand, who are going to act before us. Now, let's say that the big blind called. The big blind did not call, did they? I don't recall.
No, I think the big blind folded.
Okay, anyways, if we get any sort of bet in front, there's obviously no fold equity that we're going to have, meaning that they're going to have substantial equity, or I shouldn't say substantial. I should say they're going to have equity against our shove, and they're never folding. So instead of just jamming, getting called by worse, and realizing all our equity there, and not having to go multi-way to the flop, now we're in a situation where we're going to have to, we're going to get the hand to the river, but we're going to be playing against somebody a hand that has equity against us.
Yeah, you're saying like they're not putting it in there with, any less than a pair, I'm sure, regardless of what the flop is.
Well, you're talking post. You're talking post flop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Are you talking pre-flop? I'm sorry. Maybe I mixed up.
No, I'm talking. I've sort of talked both. So okay. I think with the aces pre-flop, it's an auto jam. There's more than our stack in there. Playing it multi-way just isn't good. We don't want to play aces 4-way to a flop. So now let's say that we are this individual. I don't like calling people fish. But let's say we are this individual who I think is
this fun player.
Is clear. Yeah, clearly just a fun player. Now, let's say he has aces. Well, not let's say he has aces. With his whole range, he's just calling. I'm sort of lost in my thought. I apologize.
It's all good. I think I'm trying to remember what he ended up having. I think I don't remember if he. I think after the flop he ended up folding. I think you're right. I think he did. Yeah, because the cutoff and the opener end up getting it in, and the cutoff ended up having it was 6-8 suited or something. I don't remember what the other guy had, maybe an overpair or something. But I think he had pocket nines or something. And and then it went bet, raise, and then the guy with no chips folded. And then I quickly realized that my theory of him being a pro on the button and being sneaky there with aces or kings was vastly wrong.
No, exactly. Yeah. Like I said, it doesn't matter what the flop comes. I think a lot of the time you're going to get a bet from one of the first two people, who either the guy who opened the pot or one of the two who or one of the guys who called. So when those bet into you, and let's assume that this guy does have aces and he goes all in, again, he has no fold equity. He's getting called, and the hand that calls him is going to have some equity. So if the flop comes, whatever it is, jack high, well, king jack isn't folding there.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're just trying to fade. But I don't think that's a good way to play aces when you can play it pretty much variance free, just jamming and getting what would have been a free double up for that guy if he had aces and
and he wasn't a fun player.
It was different. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the point being, I don't think a good player ever does that. And if there are good players listening who are, and I assume that there are good players listening, but I'd like to hear if anybody would ever in that spot just limp. I mean, you got.
I would too. I'd be curious about this spot. If you're a TPE edger, go on there and what's the title of the post?
The title is Interesting Multi-Way Equity Calculation. What a great title, eh?
So much for ace jack off in the small blind. Okay, there you go. You can look it up on there and reply to it. I think I'm going to go. I think after this podcast, I'm going to go on there and I'm going to ask. What would guys do there with the aces in the dealer spot? Is there an argument to? We know that shoving is good, but is it just a little bit better to call? I'd be curious there. Join TPE. You can check out the forum without paying or anything. They've got a bunch of free videos you can check out. But if you guys do sign up, use the code HUP month, HUP quarter, and HUP year. You'll score a little discount. Spread some love back here, and I'd be curious on those hands too. You can send us an email and we'll talk about it on the podcast. headsuppokerpodcast@gmail.com. But shall we get into a little strategy? I guess we're already kind of doing that, but you've got a couple of hands, right, Aaron?
Yeah, I got a hand here that pulled up. Let me just get that up.
All right.
So you're just gonna write it down?
I'm gonna write it down. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So we are in middle position.
Okay.
With ace jack offsuit. Okay. We have 17,000, which is 52 big blinds.
Okay.
The blinds here are 125, 250.
Okay.
And this is it has to be in an ACR. This is an ACR tournament. Let me look at the stack. So it looks like it's probably relatively early. We'll say we're not deep or anything here.
Okay.
So the blinds are 125, 250. The under the gun player folds. The under the gun +1 folds. I'm in middle position with ace jack offsuit. Mm-hmm. And I raise to 629 chips.
629. Okay.
I don't know if the suits are relevant, but I'm ace of hearts, jack of diamonds.
Okay, ace of hearts, jack of diamonds, raised to 629. And what do the players do behind you?
And maybe I don't. I guess you can cut this out if you want, but if to give a little bit of insight, me and Steve sort of looked at a couple of hands prior to this, and this was one that came up. So I don't know how this goes.
I think we got to we got pre-flop, or we got to the flop, and then I'm like, this is a good one. Just don't show me anymore, right? Okay.
Yes. stopped it. So I don't know what the result is. I don't know if I played this great. I don't know if I played it horribly. I don't know. So
we'll see.
I'm with you guys. We're going into this a little bit blind. Okay, so I opened to 629.
Okay.
You think that's sizing? Is that okay? What do you look for in sizing pre-flop? Do you have a go-to?
Okay, well here, 200 the gun folds, we're going to be the first opener, and the blinds being 125, 250. Double that, you got 500, and then add another 129. We're basically going 2.5x.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's fine. At this level, I'm doing 666. But that's just kind of out of laziness, and when I'm for tabling, it's faster to type. But yeah, I think this is fine. Anywhere from 600 to 750, something like that.
Yeah, I like how I've played it so far.
Yeah, okay. I would not be folding.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so then we're at the hijack, and the hijack makes the call. The hijack is a. Do you want me to give the stats on him right now?
Yeah. What's the hijack stats?
So I have 385 hands on this guy.
Okay, good sample.
Yeah. So he has 35 bigs. He is a 22-13. So he's a reasonably solid player. He's not a schmuck, if you will.
He's not raising with crap.
Well, he's just
yeah.
Well, he's just calling. So.
Well, when he's first into the pot, he's playing kind of tight. When I see like a 22-13 and he just flats you, I'm like, okay, he's probably not nutted unless we'll go to what's his 3-bet stat?
Yeah, his 3-bet is 4.7.
Okay, yeah. So he's probably not incredibly nutted here. I think he's got a lot of Broadway hands, pairs, suited connectors, stuff like that.
Okay. So he makes the call. We'll go to the cutoff. The cutoff makes the call as well.
Okay.
And I don't know who the villain is here. So this guy is a 42-21. He's also really deep. He has 82 bigs. So he has both of us covered.
Okay.
42-21. He also has a 3-bet of 11%.
And how many hands do you have on him?
This 118.
Not a whole lot, but definitely better than 12. Okay. So after 118, he's a 42-21, 11% 3-bet.
Right.
That's an active player. Okay.
Yeah. So I think just looking at this where it is right now, I think what we can do is probably take the top of this guy's range out. So I don't think that this guy who's calling right here, being 42-21, 11, is going to have aces, kings, queens. Maybe, I don't know about jacks. Ace, king, I guess would be around the bottom. But I think we can take like the top 3, aces, kings, queens, almost out of this guy's range.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I think that and the hijack as well.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. So you're in middle position. You raise to 629. We get a call from the hijack, a call from the cutoff, and what about the button?
Folds, small blind folds, and the big blind goes ahead. He's getting a good price, and he makes the call.
Okay, so he calls.
So we're going 4-way to the flop here.
And what about the big blind? What info do you have on him?
The big blind I have 37 hands on. He has 21 bigs. He's a 53-36 with a 15 3-bet. So this guy was never folding anything. Okay. He's calling any 2 here.
Super. Well, 37 hands is not a bad sample, especially when you have numbers like that. It's tough. When you only have 14 hands and the guy's like an 80-60, he could just be running hot and getting hands. But by the time you get up to almost 40 hands and they've still got crazy numbers like that, this guy's just...
Yeah, I mean, this guy's played, 53% of 37. So this guy's somehow found a way to play 19 hands.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's voluntarily. And he has the 36 pre-flop raise. So this guy's extremely active on
He's
this.
A maniac, yeah.
I don't think we have to explain to people.
No. That one's self-explanatory. What's the total pot?
So the pot now to the flop is 2,841 chips.
Okay.
The big blind was 250, so we're at 11, just over 11 bigs in the pot.
Okay.
So the flop comes ace of diamonds, queen of spades, 10 of diamonds.
10 of diamonds. Okay,
Ace.
and we have the ace of hearts, jack of diamonds.
Right. We have a jack of diamond there. Yeah. So actually a reasonably significant blocker to flush draws.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. Yeah. Now I'm remembering why I said mark this one. Let's talk about this one.
Yeah. Okay.
This is good. Okay. All right. Now it's on the big blind. What's the big blind do? He checks, right?
The big blind does check.
Okay. That's as far as we got in the hand. Okay. Big blind checks,
Yes,
and now
so-
it's on hero.
Yeah.
We have
now it's
top
on-
pair.
Yes.
With a jack kicker, with a board of ace, queen, 10, 2 diamonds. We have the jack of diamonds. Top pair, we have a gut shot. Any king will make us the nuts, as long as it's not a diamond. Do we check or do we bet here? We got 2 guys left to act behind us. I'm trying to think, because if we lead here, if we get raised, I think it's a pretty easy fold. If we check and it checks through, we don't want to see another 10. We don't want to see another queen. I'm kind of thinking a check. I feel like a check if the guy to our left, if he bets and then there's a raise, or if there's basically a bet and then a raise behind us, we can easily let it go. If it checks through, there's kind of only 6 cards that we don't want to see. We don't want to see a queen or a 10. We'd rather not see a diamond, but there's only 2 better diamonds out there, the queen of diamonds and the king of diamonds. A jack we don't want to see as well, now that I think about it. That's another, okay, so that's 9 cards we don't want to see.
Well, think about this though. I mean, if we're going to check and someone's going to bet and we're just going to call anyways, we're going to be better off betting. Like, we're going to get a lot of worse hands calling, right? Like this board is going to hit a lot of hands, whether it's king queen, all the Broadway, obviously, king queen, jack 10, king jack, who would have flopped the nuts. Worse aces. Worse aces are definitely possible because we've had the call. I mean, we went 3-way to the flop, or 4-way to the flop. Sorry. So,
you know what? Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe we do get quite a few calls from worse hands. We get calls from any 2 diamonds.
yeah.
We get calls from any 2 diamond hands we're beating.
And we're blocking a lot of those diamond hands with the jack of diamonds too.
That's true.
It's pretty significant.
You're right. That is a significant card right there. We're blocking king jack. We're blocking. We're blocking a lot of hands.
If we didn't have,
I think you're right. I bet jack 10 calls here. I think queen jack calls here. King queen calls here. Worse aces call here. You convinced me. I like a bet. Okay, now what sizing are we going to use? Into 2841, we started with 17K. We're all fairly somewhat deep here. We've got 52 bigs. The hijack has 35. The cutoff, that's our money machine right there. He's got 82, and then the big blind, this guy could just have almost any 2 cards because he's
the shortest stack with 21.
With 21, yeah. Okay, into 1841, I'm going to go. I think we'll still get called by those worse hands if we bet a little bit more than half pot. If we did something like, if 1420 is half pot, if we went something like 16 to 1800, something like that. I think we'll still get called by the worst hands, and I think the better hands at that point will probably raise. It's something like queen 10 offsuit. I think we'll pop in a raise there, and then we can get away from our hand. When he's got it crushed. I think that would be my sizing. Final answer. What?
Okay.
What'd you do?
Well, again, I don't remember this hand or what I'd done or this looks. So I like that sizing. If I had gone anywhere between, I don't know. I really like almost bigger sizing here because I feel like it does hit so much. It hits so many hands that we have better than. So I would like a bigger sizing, but I actually went really small here. I went a third pot and went $9.99.
Okay.
Which is going to definitely allow worse hands to call. That's for sure. But other than that, I don't know. I don't really care for that sizing. I would have liked bigger sizing.
Okay. All right. You bet $9.99. What's the cutoff do?
So I bet $9.99, and the cutoff. Oh, sorry. The hijack first. Hijack folds.
Yeah, I wrote it in the wrong order. My bad.
Yeah, that's okay. Hijack folds, so he's not our villain apparently.
Okay.
And the cutoff makes the call. So the cutoff calls the $9.99, and the big blind ends up calling. So what do we make of this guy calling our $9.99?
Okay, what's the pot going to be on the turn?
Pot is now 4,839.
48.39. Okay.
So
we
we're
got $9.99 into 28.41. Hijack folds. He's not relevant now. The cutoff calls, and he was the 42-21-11 with 118 hands. And the big blind, the really, really fun player, is the 53-36-15. He also calls. So the big blind, I think, here could have just about anything. I think he has some kind of equity. Like he could even have something that's down as low as the big blind didn't
call.
What's that?
The big blind didn't call.
Oh, he didn't call. I'm sorry. I thought you said the big blind called. Okay, so you're heads up now with the cutoff.
Heads up now with the cutoff.
Okay. So the cutoff calls. Okay, big blind's out. Hijack's out.
He's got a fold to C-bet of 33%. So he's not folding very often.
Okay.
C-bets.
And now, is that just the flop C-bet or is that the turn C-bet?
That's flop C-bet.
That's flop C-bet. Can you see his turn C-bet? Turn fold to C-bet? It's only 118 hands, so it may not even be there. But
no, I mean, I made my own HUD, so I do have that stat. But for some reason, I must be using a different HUD because it's not
on there. Okay. Well, with 118 hands, the sample would be like 1 of 1 or 0 of 1, so it probably doesn't matter. What do we put him at here? Okay. I think he could have his stats 42-21-11 after 118 hands. This is an active player. Definitely more of a calling station than raising, because if he's after 118 hands, if he's voluntarily put money in the pot 42% of the time.
Okay, I'm sorry, I looked at this wrong. Nothing really changes, but his fold to C-bet is 38, and his fold to turn C-bet is 50.
And how many hand samples is that out of the fold to turn C-bet? Is it 2? 1 of 2? Or is it like 3 of 6?
Fold to turn C-bet. It's out of 3. He's fold to C-bet turn. Sorry, I have a C-bet turn at 50. His fold to C-bet turn is 33, and that is out of 3 hands.
So 1 out of 3 times he's folded to a turn C-bet, and 38% is some percentage.
Folds. That's his flop.
Flop fold to C-bet. Okay, so if this guy... Well, this is a stat that says that if he calls, he's got something and he's not folding. It's basically what we've learned from this so far out of a small sample.
Well, not necessarily. His fold to C-bet's only 38%. So that means that he's calling 60% of the time. So that means that
you're right. I got it backwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, he's calling over 60%. So he's calling. He doesn't fold flop C-bets basically.
Yeah, and that makes sense with his pre-flop stats of 42-21. This is a guy that just wants to see cards.
Right.
And okay, all right. Man, we might just have to go to Value Town this whole way.
It doesn't look like a bad idea at this point.
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that I bet after he calls, I better bet the turn. I'm not going to like a check on, I don't think, almost almost any turn, to be honest.
Yeah, this is kind of looking like we need to fire here. I do like what we're talking about, a bigger bet on the flop, though.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I think we'll still get value, especially since this guy's calling so much. Well, he's never folding a queen. He's never folding two diamonds.
He's never folding any pair.
I don't think so. I was trying to think. I'm like, does he peel a call here with 10-8? Maybe that might be stretching it, but I'm sure he's calling with Jack 10, and he might even call with Jack 9 or 10-9. That might be stretching it. I don't know, but
I think so.
Yeah, he probably is. I mean, look at his stats. He's so active. Okay, so we got.
I think he folds 8s here. That's about it. But
yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. Any pair below. Is he calling with 9s there?
Well, that's what I was wondering. That's why I said 8s. I don't even. Maybe he's stubborn and calls with 9s, but he doesn't fold very much, anyways.
Not at all. No. Okay.
And especially when I make the flop C bet that small, we can obviously, God, maybe he's got 2s and just wants to.
Maybe he has like Jack 7, and he's well, I could catch a king. You just never know. Okay, so there's 48-39 in the pot going to the turn. We're heads up with the cutoff. We have Ace Jack offsuit with the Jack of diamonds, and the board is Ace Queen 10, 2 diamonds. Top pair got shot. What's the turn?
Blocker. Just the last thing that I'll say quickly is at this point I think that he's going to have a lot of one pair hands, and I think almost all of those one pair hands are going to be worse than ours. So I do think that we have the best hand right now.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And again, I don't know the results, so I could make myself look like a fool, or I don't know.
Hey, bro, I make myself look like a fool every single week on this podcast, so don't feel self-conscious. All right.
So
consistently.
The turn is 7 of hearts.
7 of hearts. Okay, that changes nothing, right? Yeah. Okay, that's basically a blank. All right, yep. And what do we do?
What do you do?
Oh, I bet Value Town. I'm going to go.
Just sizing here. We got 48-39 in the pot.
Okay, since the turn basically changes nothing, the board being Ace Queen 10 7, Ace of Diamonds 10 of Diamonds. We have the Jack of Diamonds, so we're not going to have any backdoor. We still just have a gut shot top pair. I'm going 21, 22, something like that. I don't think I'm going any bigger than like 25.
Okay. And I go, wow, I continue with this small betting, and I bet 16.09.
16.09. Okay. Yeah, I would have gone a little bit. Now, this is Monday morning quarterback too, Aaron, when we're able to dissect his stats and look up, his flop and turn, fold the C-bet and all that. So This is
no, I definitely would have liked bigger than this. I probably would have liked almost closer to maybe even as high as 3,000, 3,100 into 48.
Yeah.
So like twice as much as what I ended up betting. But that's what I bet. And this is a problem, I think. This is a leak. I'm just losing value here, I believe.
I think so. We'll see. What does he call here? Does he raise? What?
And he just makes the call. Okay. So he's in it with his one pair there.
All right. And what how much do we have going to the river?
We have 8,057 going to the river.
8,057. Okay, so when he calls here on the turn, I don't think much has changed. I guess that's why I kind of glossed over it. Was with the 7 of hearts, that really doesn't change anything unless, he had 10-7 or he had pocket 7s or he had queen 7. But I think we can basically count this as a blank. And if he's calling the flop, he's probably calling the turn, not only because of his stats that we have, but because nothing's really changed here. So if he had a queen on the flop, he's still going to call with his queen on the turn, I think. Does that sound accurate? Yeah.
No, definitely.
Okay.
I think once he calls the flop, and again, I use small bet sizing again, I think that he's gonna pretty much continue with everything that he continued with on the flop.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so we go to the river. The board is ace of diamonds, queen of spades, 10 of diamonds, 7 of hearts. We've got 8,057 in the middle. We are covered by the cutoff who started with 82 bigs. We got 52. What's the river?
The river is the 5 of diamonds. So we have 9,600 left in our stack, and the pot is 8,057. So you see the problem here is that if we would have used just slightly larger sizing, then we would have had the opportunity to jam this. But now jamming it is an overbet, which I'm definitely not gonna like on this particular river. Even though I think that one of the things I've been looking at is flush draws, and like I said, with our us having the jack of diamonds, that blocker is really significant because he can't have jack 9 anymore. He can't have king jack of diamonds. He can't have.
It takes so many combos out of there. Jack 10, queen 10,
and all the cards below. Like, well, he is going to continue with some other diamonds, but it significantly lowers his likelihood of having a flush draw. But we aren't going to be able to get it in here. So anyways, the river is the 5 of diamonds. And what are you doing here, Steve? We have 9,689 and the pot is just over 8K.
I kind of like this decision here now. Since we know he's calling light. I mean, see, the thing is this a bet fold or is this a check call? I think that's the question. Is this guy going to turn his a pair of tens into a bluff and we can call? Is he going to, turn his king 9 into a bluff that he had for a gut shot, or is, jack 8 for a gut shot into a bluff? Is he going to do that? I think we're better off just kind of throwing a little value town in here, maybe like 3,000-4,000. Get a call from a queen, possibly a 10, and if he shoves on us, then I think we can get away. Is he turning that in? See, the number that keeps throwing me off here when I'm looking at his stats after 118 hands is he's a 42, 21, 11.
Yeah.
So the guy's got some 3-bets in his range, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's 11% 3-bet is a lot. And does that mean that he just happened to get a string of hands in, these 118 hands, or does it mean that he's pretty active? But I'd love to see this guy's stats after like 3K hands.
Yeah.
Sure. That would be really interesting because after 118 hands, we have to, what I'm doing in my mind here with the 42, 21, 11 is I'm putting a plus or minus in there of like 10, so he could be a 52, or he could be a 32, a 21, plus or minus probably 7, so he could be one way or the other. But even when you make those numbers conservative, this guy's still pretty active.
Yeah, and with his 3-bet of 11, I think that the way that the action went pre-flop with me opening and then the guy right behind me calling and him being in the cutoff, knowing that he's going to have position on both of us, his 3-bet likelihood is probably a lot higher than the 11. Because if he had a hand, even let's say he had queen, let's say you have queen 10 of hearts there, or king queen of hearts, whatever hand you would 3-bet. I don't think the top of his range there he's going to be flatting behind with.
Yeah.
So I think he would have been 3-betting a lot more pre-flop, meaning that I think we can take a lot of really good hands out of his range. And I shouldn't say really good because even a hand like queen 10, I really don't think that he can have that. Ace 10, I don't think he can have that anymore. Ace 7, Ace 5, he can obviously have. We're blocking the aces, so that's a good thing. But I still think we're in a pretty good situation here overall.
Yeah, the only straight that's out there is King Jack, and he blocked that pretty hard. He's probably 3-betting there with something that high with Ace Queen. Again, we blocked that. He'd probably call there with the ace 10, but I imagine somewhere along the line we would have heard from him if he had, two pair or a set.
I agree with that.
This may even be a bet call. I'd try to go for some value town. I'd go like 3,500, 4K, probably not bigger than 41 or 42. I'm basically targeting a queen here.
Yeah.
How can I get him to call with king, queen, or better? Pocket kings. Although we took that out of his range. I don't think we can realistically target a 10. I think we got to target a queen here and see what we can get. And I think sizing for that would be a little bit less than a half pot.
And it's with flush draw not being all that likely, I think we take that out. It would be pretty bad for him for this board to go check. Like I think that would be pretty bad. So if we check and then he checks behind, I don't really want that to happen. So I don't
think so. No, I think we got to go for a little value town here. And, it would be a shame if he had ace 8 here.
Right.
And he checked behind. We effed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that would be bad.
I've already bet small. And then if I check call this, or if it does go check and he has ace 8, then this was just absolutely butchered. Maybe I'm getting max value right now. I don't know. We don't know.
Maybe what did you bet the river? Did you check or
Let's see. So I bet I continued with my story of betting small, and I bet 2609.
Okay. So you had 9,600 behind, you bet 2609, so you got 7K back, and there's over 10 in the pot. Okay.
7K back, and there's 10.5K in the pot, just over.
And what's Villain do?
And Villain here, let's see what he does, Steve. And he folds.
Oh, okay. So he probably had a 10.
Yeah, or a queen. I mean, maybe he could.
I don't think he's folding a queen there. Is he really? I mean, maybe. I guess the flush has got to be scary to him too. You're just betting small each time. Yeah, it does kind of look like you have a flush.
Queen Jack, Queen King. He was.
I think he's.
I don't know if he takes that full.
I don't know. That's such a small bet. King 8 or King 9 or something like that he had for a gut shot, or
right.
Maybe he had Jack. No, we blocked Jacks. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
I'm pretty certain, I'll stick with what I said at the start. I'm pretty sure he flopped a single pair that we're better than. And on this river, the way that it goes, we can pretty much rule out any ace, I would say. I think he makes that call with an ace.
Yeah.
But so that basically leaves him with a queen or a 10 with less queens than 10s. Flush draws again. Obviously, he didn't have a flush.
Yeah.
And that was
Jack 10 would make a lot of sense. I don't think he can ever call with Jack 10 off there.
No, I agree.
Would make a lot of sense. King 10 maybe?
King 10.
King 10 would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Nice. Right on. That was a cool hand.
Okay.
That
was.
Deal.
It's good when you.
What's that?
It's good when it was sort of neat that I didn't know what was coming up, so that we could talk about it and not have bias and know. And I spot the couple leaks. I mean, like I said, who knows? I might have gotten max value there if the guy just had 10-8 of hearts.
Yeah.
That might have been the only way that I get money.
Yeah. We will never know.
We'll never know, but I'll take the chips anyways. So I take the pot. It's a nice pot.
Yes.
And
speaking of taking the pot, if you want to take more pots, you need to listen to Elliot Roe. Yes, get in the right mindset before you play. So all it takes is go to headsuppoker.poker, click on the link in there, click on the link in the show notes, and download your 7-minute Tilt-Buster. It's free. Put it on your phone, listen to it before you play the next time, and it will influence you on a subconscious level. Elliot is a certified hypnotherapist, and he specializes in poker players. And he's gotten a bunch of MP3s for the specific type of game that you play, whether it's cash, tournaments, or like Aaron and I, online poker tournaments. He has those. And you listen to these. They're about 10 minutes long before you play, and it will influence you. You'll stop tilting. If you need them for bankroll management, if you want to increase your volume, let's say you're tight like KB and you're playing a 16-14 and you want to play more, listen to the volume maximizer one. He's got MP3s for any type of poker that you want to play. Just click on the link in the show notes. Try one out for free. If you do purchase an MP3, use the code HUPOKER. You'll score yourself a little discount and save yourself some cash. So, okay, Aaron, I've got another one here.
Sure.
And we are on the button. We have Ace-9 offsuit. We've got 55 big blinds. 55 big blinds. And the guy to our right, so in the cutoff, raises. Okay? He has 32 big blinds.
Okay.
Blind levels here are 250, 500. And so we're on the button with Ace-9 offsuit, and we get a raise from the cutoff. Now, his stats after 32 hands is he's a 24, 20, 25%. So he's coming into the pot 24% of the time. He's pre-flopped raised 20%, and he's 3-bet 25. Now, this is only 32 hands, so it's not a huge sample, but 24-20 says one thing after 32 hands, and a 5/4/0 says another, and 42-21-11 says another one. You know, so
okay.
It's got a.
Do you have the raise first in stats?
Raise first in. I have the steal stats.
Okay, that'll.
You mean like early position raise first in?
Yes.
Middle position raise first in.
Yeah. So what's his? I guess they just go by.
Okay, I have his early position raise first in is 13%.
Okay.
So out of 32 hands, not a whole lot, but that says one. And then his middle position raise first in is 0.
Okay.
But his steal percentage from the button cutoff, and is the steal percentage on HM2? Is that the button in the cutoff and the hijack, or is that just the button in the cutoff?
Well, you can sort them, I believe, by each of those positions. You can sort them by cutoff. You can have either a total steal stat, which will be the small blind, the button, the cutoff, and I believe the hijack, or you can break it down by each position. I have it on my HUD, so I have early position, middle position, and then I have cutoff, button, and small blind. So you can do it as a lump, or you can define it by position.
Okay, this one is a lump, so that would be the button, cutoff, and the hijack, and it's 57. So the guy's looks like he's tight and early and middle position, and then he's loose 57%. After 32 hands, and 7-handed, we've probably seen 4 or 5 rotations, and he's raised from those 3 positions 57% of the time. So he's fairly active late position.
Right.
We have Ace-9 off on the button. What are you thinking here to an active guy in the cutoff? What are we doing with Ace-9 off?
We have 55 bigs, so we're pretty deep here.
The blinds have 34 bigs in the small blind and 20 in the big blind.
34 big blinds, small blind, and 20 in the big blind?
Yep.
Okay, so the big blind, the small blind, we don't have to worry about.
No.
About jam stealing. The 20 big blinds in the big blind is a little bit of a concern, but even still, I think I like a 3-bet here, just because that guy is so active. This is something that I use a lot, is the raise first in stats in terms of defining what I'm going to 3-bet. And we're going to have position in the rest of the hand. And the way that this hand plays out a lot that I find is that we 3-bet, small blind folds, big blind folds, cutoff calls, flop comes, he checks, we bet, he folds. That's the way that I see this hand playing out a ton. So with him being that active, I'm most definitely going to 3-bet in this spot.
Sizing?
And if we get jammed, if we get jammed by anyone else, then we can just fold. So if he's rejamming, then I'm just gonna fold it.
Okay. Yeah. And I think even the big blind rejamming here, 20 bigs is a fold because from his perspective, cutoff raises, button raises, re-raises, and then now he's got 20 big. I think even if we risk 5 big blinds here, we can probably let it go.
Yeah, I'd be folding to his shove too.
Okay.
His range is going to be pretty narrow.
Okay. What's your sizing on the 3-bet? The blinds are 250, 500. The cutoff min raises to 1,000. It's on us. What sizing are you using?
He min raises to 1,000. Well, because I see the way that this hand plays out a lot, I don't go all that big with the 3-bet. So I'd probably go something like maybe 2.5 times. So somewhere around the 24 to 2,500. Okay. I don't think we need to go like a full 3x to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish here. This guy's probably going to call a lot and have a worse hand than our ace 9 anyways. So we're still getting value.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. I think going 3x would be too much because then he'll start folding a lot of his crap, which we kind of want him to call with. And I think a min raise is too small. So yeah. In a spot like this where we got position, I think by default I'm running through the Rolodex right now in my head of what I do in this spot, and everything screams 2.5. And so that's 2,500 is what I raise. Both the blinds fold, and he calls. So the scenario we're talking about is unfolding. Okay, we have ace of spades, 9 of hearts. The flop is 8 of spades, 7 of diamonds, 4 of spades. Okay, so 8, 7, 4, 2 spades. We have the ace of spades. So we got ace 9 off. What are you thinking here? Villain checks. We got 6,100 in the pot. He has 13K behind. We have 24K.
6,100 in the pot, and the flop is 8, 7, 4.
8, 7, 4. 2 spades, and we have the ace of spades.
And he checks to us?
He checks to us, yeah. So we got a backdoor straight draw because 7, 8, 9, if we catch a running 10 jack or a running 10 6 or a running 5 6 or... Yeah. So backdoor flush draw 2 and 2 overs.
Yeah, so I'm gonna continue here. My sizing would probably be it doesn't have to be very big. I don't think maybe I'd go around half pot. 28.99.
Okay. All right. I think so too. I think, this scenario, I think kind of reminds me of when I play the small blind and it folds to me. Like I kind of have this set pattern set up when I'm against an unknown is I just limp. I wait for them to check and then I half bet every single pot. And I swear to God, it works like 80% of the time until they catch on. And then I have to adjust that. But this seems like a similar pattern here that I do. And until you verbalized it, I didn't really realize I was doing it, was that we 3-bet from the button. The blinds fold. He calls. When he checks, we bet. And then we take down the pot. And I feel like that exact run out seems to happen like half the time. Yeah. And I agree with your bet, and I think it's the move. And for whatever reason, I check. So maybe that's why I tagged this hand. Okay. Was just to remind myself that, why are you interrupting the pattern? Maybe I had some history with this player after 32 hands. I thought that wouldn't work. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm looking at his other stats right here, and there's nothing that's really jumping out at me that would make me think I shouldn't do that. But for whatever reason, I check here. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, maybe I was thinking because we got the backdoor spades and the backdoor straight, but I think that's all the more reason to bet here. And then we can shut down on the turn if we don't improve or pick up some kind of more equity. And we can continue our line if we catch a spade, if we catch something if we catch a pair.
Yeah.
Or if we catch, a 6, a 10, something that gives us like an open ender. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's definitely a bet here.
Yeah, I'm never, after I 3-bet pre-flop, I'm in a situation like this, I'm never going to check it back. I shouldn't say never. That's not, but I'm very rarely going to check it back. So I'm going to continue with a bet there. So we bet, and exactly, there's lots of good cards that can come for us. If a 10 comes, if a jack comes, if a 9 comes, if a 6 comes, if a 5 comes, if an ace comes, any of those cards give us more outs, along with the spades. Any spades come. So that's a lot of cards that can come that are going to allow us to continue to barrel. So again, if a spade comes, a 5, a 6, a 9, a jack, a 10, any of those cards are really good barrel cards. Ace are going to be cards that we can bet again.
Yeah. I like it. Okay. Don't know why I didn't do it. Check. Okay. Turn is, we got 6,100 still in the pot. A villain has 13K behind. We have 24K behind. So we're stack to pot ratio is basically 2 to 1 for the effective stacks. And the turn is the jack of hearts. So we have the ace of spades, 9 of hearts. And the board now is jack of hearts, 8 of spades, 7 of diamonds, 4 of spades.
Right.
Okay, so we pick up a gut shot, and that's about it. Now we have 1 over, and villain checks to us.
Yeah, this gets a little bit trickier now because I'm definitely barreling this card had I bet the flop.
Yeah.
Now with not having bet the flop, yeah, I mean that just makes it a lot trickier to play.
I think now might be if this was a 10, then I think even then, since we didn't lead the flop, we might be able to
the way that you're playing it, I might just be in like check give up mode here, just because with the guy being so active in late position and us 3-betting and him calling a 7-8 jack board with the 4, let's say that's not all that relevant. So a 7-8 jack board is going to hit him a lot.
Yeah.
It's not a good board texture for us at all. So he's definitely gonna have the advantage on us here.
I think so too. I think his raise calling range pre-flop smacks this a lot more than our 3-betting range on the button.
Yeah, so if we were to go bet, then we would be, then we can represent the top of our range too. But having checked the flop, it's pretty unlikely that now we've taken the top of our range out of play. So we're not going to have aces anymore. We're not going to have kings anymore. We're not going to have queens anymore. We're not going to have jacks anymore. We're not going to have any overpair to the board, right?
Yeah.
We're never checking that on the flop.
Yeah.
So when he can take out the whole top of our range, he's going to be able to play this pretty well now and put us on a hand that's pretty much exactly what we have. So if we're to bet now,
it's not telling a convincing story.
No, I don't. I'm thinking out loud again, but I'm trying to think of what we'd be repping if we bet here, and what we'd be repping is almost exactly what we have, some sort of gut shot, because we're not going to have an 8 or 7 because we would have bet that pre-flop.
Yeah.
We're not going to have the overpairs, we would have bet an 8 or a 7 on the flop.
We're not going to have 9s plus because we would have bet that on the flop. 9s
plus because we would have continued with that on the flop. So the only thing that we could try and represent here by betting is a jack, right?
Yeah. For something like queen jack or king jack that check behind, or ace jack that check behind. Yeah.
Right, or jack 10 would be a good hand here, because I would probably have bet the jack 10. I would have 3-bet that pre as well.
Okay. 3-bet it and then check the flop.
Yeah, I would have been 3-betting a lot again, like I said, to this guy. I might have even 3-bet the jack 8 suited.
Okay.
This guy.
All right. We check behind, and the river is the ace of clubs. So again, with the ace 9 offsuit, the final board is ace jack 8 7 4. Flush draw misses. We've now got top pair, and villain checks again. So 6,100 in the pot. Villain has 13K behind. We got 24. What are you thinking here?
He checked the river again.
He checked the river again.
Well, I'm probably going to bet small fold here.
Okay, what sizing are you going into 6,100?
So we're at 6,100. I might go for like I'm probably going like third pot-ish. Like either I like 1999 because 2000. I feel like 2000 sometimes to people feels like too much to call, but 1999 seems like okay.
And it's so easy to type.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm probably going to bet like 1999 here and fold to any hostility.
Okay. I think great minds think alike, because into 6,100 I bet exactly a third pot. I guess I just clicked the third pot button because I bet 20.34. So 35 short of what you would have bet. But I throw that out there. And go ahead.
Great minds think.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And he ships it for another 13K. So yeah. We got 2,100, and it's like another 11K that we're getting. Like You're folding here.
6, 8, 10. So we're basically getting 1-to-1 on our money, right? It's like 11K to call 10K. But
let's see. There's 2,100 in the pot, or 21,000 in the pot, and we got to call 11. So it's like 2-to-1.
There's 20. How is there 21K in the? Oh, because okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I'm going to stick with what I said. Like, I'm going to try and get some value there by betting small. But the whole reason that I would bet small would be because I want to be able to lay this down. I just don't think this is a spot that that players just decide that they're going to take their 8 deuce and turn it into a bluff. Like, people just don't check raise bluff the river, I think, almost ever. So I'm most definitely folding this.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I went for the fold. Actually, I folded pretty quickly, I remember, in game. And then afterwards, I was like, huh. You know, when I was reviewing the hands, I was like, he went check, check, check. Like, showing no strength, nothing, and then just all of a sudden just bombing the river. Like, from his perspective, this little third pot bet on the river has got to look like nothing. And he's probably like, oh, I can take this down right now. So I can see that perspective, and I could also see that he's just been checking here with 10-9 for the straight, and or 5-6 for the straight the whole time. He's like, God, this guy's like, I'm never going to get anything unless he bets, and I don't know. Like, yeah, did he could have very easily rivered like ace 4 for 2 pair or ace 8 for 2. He probably would have bet ace 8 on the flop, or ace 8 might make sense. Ace 7, 2 pairs makes sense. Sets make sense, I guess. Well, yeah, I don't think I'm good that often. We need to be good. I mean, when we got to call half pot.
I don't even think a lot of 2 pairs would raise this situation like that. Like, I'm going to put him on a stronger hand than probably 2 pairs. Like, ace jack is probably going to be the worst hand that he does this with.
You think so?
I think more like 4s, 7s, 8s, 9, 10 are going to be the hands that he has. Yeah, I think the guy's absolutely nutted here. And you know what? Like, if he bluffed us, good for him, because players don't do that. So if he did just decide to jam Jack 10,
yeah,
good for him. But players don't do that, so I don't think you should feel bad at all about letting this go. Like Andrew Brockett says, you're supposed to fold. Like, you're supposed to be wrong and fold sometimes, right?
Yeah.
People are supposed to bluff you. Like, that's going to happen. But the difference, I guess, like I said, is that people don't check raise bluff the river almost ever. And especially not at smaller mid stakes. I'm assuming that this is probably your normal, like whether it's a $20 or a $30 tournament.
This night I didn't play over a 33, so this is a 33 or lower, yeah. Actually, this night I played either 22s, 21s, or 33s, so it's in that ballpark, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think
okay.
Pretty
All
easy.
right. I probably even brought this one up because it, I don't get to see what he had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it was a good fold.
I think the lesson that should be thought about there is just the continuing on the flop, I think, is where the problems begin. Because this hand, the whole way that it played would have been a lot different had we bet the flop and then continued on the turn. Because if we bet the flop and he calls, which I'm going to assume, knowing the way that the hand played out now, he's going to call. And then on the turn, that's a good card, so I'm going to barrel again. And at that point, like, the turn is when a lot of people are going to show the true value of their hand. So I would suspect that in this situation, on that turn, we're going to get raised, check raised a lot, in which case we would just fold because we had ace high on the turn.
Yeah. Right on. I like the analysis. Thank you, Aaron.
Maybe I don't even bet that turn, but anyways, yeah.
Yeah, this was fun. We should wrap it up. We've been going a while, but thank you for coming on, Aaron.
Okay, thanks for having me, Steve. It was awesome. It was fun. Glad I got this.
And you can get your free 7-minute Tilt-Buster. Click on the link in the show notes. Specific MP3s, use the code HUPoker, score yourself a discount. Check out free training videos. I've got a couple up there, headsuppoker.poker, and even more free training videos at tournamentpokeredge.com. Use the codes HUP month, HUP quarter, and HUP year. Bookmark us on Amazon. Follow me on Twitter at HUP Podcast. Follow Aaron at Lapper30. We'll put the link in the show notes. And thank you for tuning in. Here is your weekly motivational speech.
I feel so strongly that the reason I'm here is I dream big dreams. I dream the kind of dreams that other people said would not be possible. I'm also living proof. This isn't a Hollywood movie. I come literally from the other side of the tracks. If you saw where I grew up and we took a picture of it, the neighborhood, the setting, you'd say it's impossible that someone could come from there and get here. But it is possible. And not to sound too trite, it's possible because we still live in a country where the entrepreneurial spirit is so alive and so well. And anyone in this country, if you dream big and surround yourself with great people and leave your ego at the door and share success with others and have a little luck along the way, you can do anything.